Good morning, guys. It is your girl Kendra Dionne, and this is the first installment of Coffees with Kendra. And today I want to talk about the political um, race that is happening right now. I just These are things that I have talked about in private with like different family members and friends, and I just really felt the need to bring it to a more public forum because I think there are some things that are happening and we need to really be making sound decisions in this time. We should not just be voting for one political party or another without doing our research and understanding what these politicians stand for. Um, and so I'm gonna just give you a little background about myself. Of course, you can see I'm African American. I'm 34 years old. And I grew up in a largely Democratic city. Well, not largely, it is a Democratic city. Um, and so, black, and I grew up in a city that's Democratic. I was raised to vote Democrat, right? Um, and up until about, I want to say 2019, that's what I did. I just voted Democrat. I didn't look at the politicians. I didn't look at their campaign pages and see what issues they stood for or against. And I just would vote blindly, right? However, in 2019, I really just started to feel I've always been investigative in nature, right? So I went to school for broadcast journalism, right? So that's one thing that we're always told to do. We got to check our sources. We got to go and do the work. You don't just put a story out there without researching it first, right? And so why would we not apply the same logic to who we are choosing to give our vote to, right? Who's going to represent us in these in our local governments, in our federal government, in our state government? Like, why are we not doing the due diligence to see who is this person? What do they stand for? Do they stand for the same things that I stand for, regardless of the color of their party, red or blue? Do they stand for things that I agree with? Are these things that are going to progress my people, push my people back? And I think this is something that we need to talk about specifically in the Black community, because that is the only community where we are expected to vote for one particular party, right? And that's problematic in and of itself, right? Because if I know I don't have to earn your vote, I'm not campaigning for you. I am not doing anything like special or in particular for your group, right? I'm not making any promises. And I feel as though the Black community has begun to get the short end of the stick because of this, right? And I know so many people, like, they associate the Republican Party, the Red Party, with racism, right? We just assume that everybody in that party is racist. So if they're Republican, they hate Black people, and we're not giving them our vote, right? But is that being sound-minded? Is that being sober-minded, right? Are you going to see what issues they stand for? Are you going to review their platform, their campaign websites, and seeing what they stand for? What are they going to put in place? What tax laws are they putting in place? What education policies are they putting in place? These are the things that should concern us, okay? And so I wanted to read in Exodus, right? Because I think what happened is we found allies in the Democratic Party, right? And we just stuck with it. We just said, okay, these are our friends, these are our allies. This is who we rocking with no matter what. Vote blue no matter who, right? We know that saying. And as I was thinking about this whole thing, God reminded me of Exodus 1, right? And so in Exodus 1, verse 8, it says, "Now a new king arose over Egypt, who did not know Joseph, nor the history of his accomplishments. He said to his people, 'Behold, the people of the sons of Israel are too many and too mighty for us. They greatly outnumber us. Come, let us deal shrewdly with them, so that they will not multiply in the event of war. Join our enemies and fight against us and escape from the land.'" And it's more. I'll go back. But I just want to give you a little context because I'm not going to assume that everybody has a Christian background and knows the story of Joseph, right? Because it says this new king arose who did not know Joseph. So for those of you who don't know, right, Joseph was one of the sons of Israel, right? Or Jacob. His name was changed to Israel. And so he was 11 of 12 sons, right? And he had been sold into captivity, and then he went and he was a slave, a servant. Then after that, he got thrown into prison, and then he ended up becoming the second in command for the king of Egypt. So that's why they're telling us that a new king arose who did not know Joseph, right? Because at this point now, the Israelites and the Egyptians have an alliance. They are good. They Gucci. They friends. They cool, right? And then now this new king arises, and he's like, wait, these Israelites are here and they growing. They getting bigger. They getting stronger. If they realize their strength, if they realize the power that they hold within them as a group, they can come against us and they can destroy us. So now that we have befriended them for all these years, now we're going to go and deal with them shrewdly. We're going to, verse 11 says, they set taskmasters over them to oppress them with hard labor, and their sons of Israel built Pithmon and Ramesses as storage cities for Pharaoh, right? So he said, okay, they have grown too big for us to just be friendly with and just let them coexist with us. So now we're going to oppress them, right? And they gave them hard work and hard labor. And I think that we need to really look at just the schools, the opportunities that are in our communities. If we have given these people, we have befriended these people, we've given them our vote for X amount of years, right? But there are no significant changes happening. Our schools are not good. When I still lived in Philadelphia, I paid tuition so that my children could go to Catholic school, right? Because the quality of education was not up to par with what I wanted for them, right? And I also worked in several public and mostly charter schools, right? So I saw the deficiencies. I saw the gaps there, right? I went to Catholic school my whole life, from K to 12. I went to Catholic school, right? So I literally had culture shock. As a black person, I had culture shock when I walked into the neighborhood schools that I would walk past and drive past all the time, right? Like, I was working at schools that I lived in the neighborhoods of, right? But I went to Catholic school, so I was so unaware of the different things that were happening in those buildings. And when I went in, I literally had culture shock. I'm like, what is this? Like, I'm talking about kids just disrespectful and unruly, cursing at teachers and all of these different things, right? And, prior to that, I would just hear other people's opinions, right? Like, oh, them teachers, they don't care about the kids, or this, that, and the third, right? Like, people bashing the schools or bashing the administration in the schools for the poor quality of the schools. But I started to see that it wasn't that. I've met so many great educators, black and white, who genuinely cared about those children and genuinely wanted to teach. I've seen teachers literally in tears because they can't get the classes quiet and simmered down enough to get their lesson plan through. You know what I mean? And I'm not blaming, I'm not victim shaming, I'm not pointing the finger at these children. What I'm saying is that we need to start building an infrastructure where our children want to go to school and learn. And a lot of this begins at home. So parents, we're going to shift a lot of the blame back on you, because how you send your child to school matters. Okay? I have one example. I was substituting at a school in a kindergarten class, mind you, right? And this mom, she drops her daughter off late, right? So everybody's already seated, already quiet, got the kids ready, in a place ready to learn or start the next activity. This mom brings her daughter in late, and as she's taking her coat off, she tells the little girl, if you let one of these little bees hit you and you don't hit them back, I'ma F you up when you get home. I was literally flabbergasted. I was like, did she just say that? Like, did this just happen? Like, what? Like, I was stuck. I was literally stuck, right? And the aides in that classroom, I guess they were used to it because they didn't even budge. But, like, I was shook. I was like, did that just happen? Because at this point, I believe my oldest may have been in kindergarten as well. So I'm just like, oh my God, like I would never drop my child off and threaten them like that. Like, how is she supposed to? So the little girl, of course, she comes in class and she is like upset, like crying and got her head down and just in a bad mood, which you would expect. Who wants to be dropped off after being told that if they don't beat up another kid, then the mom's going to beat them up? Like, not, baby, have a great day, enjoy your day, learn all you can learn. No, like if you let one of these little bees, mind you, this is the word she's saying in front of a room full of kindergartners. If you let one of these bees hit you, then I'm gonna F you up. What? Like, is this what we're doing? Then, not to mention, at pickup time, baby, okay, like. Parents coming and smelling like they were just hotboxing. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's really sad and it's disheartening. Because, you know, when you hear certain things about the Black community, right? For like somebody like me, when you hear certain things about the Black community, you get offended, right? Rightfully so. You get offended because you're like, I don't live like that. I don't talk like that. I don't behave this way or that way, right? Like, I believe in education. I believe in whatever religion, whether you're Christian, Muslim, Hindu, whatever, right? You can believe whatever you want. But, like, I have morals. I have principles that I live by. Like, I'm not no monkey. I'm not no, you know what I mean? Like, you get offended when you hear those stereotypes. And it's so sad and disheartening when you go and you step into a world that you don't know as a Black person. And you begin to observe these things. And you're like, wow, like this is a reality, I guess, to some people. This is how some people do choose to live. And so, you know, I know some people don't think like, oh, she on her Candace Owens, oh, she about to be bashing Black people. Not at all. Not at all. But what I'm saying is those of us who are educated, those of us who have taken the steps to pull ourselves into a different situation, make a different narrative for ourselves, it is now our responsibility to put ourselves either in political position to make changes, or to put our voting in a position to make those same changes for the people that we care about, the people who look like us. Because one thing that I did observe sometimes was that I had a different empathy and compassion for our people, regardless of how they presented, how they behaved, right? I had a certain compassion for our people because they look like me. They are me, right? So I didn't necessarily hold the same judgment that other races who would observe these things when they are in these situations or in these buildings. I didn't hold the same position as them, right? Of judgment, like, see, they are just like they say they are, right? Like, but like I said, it's up to us who are educated, who do, you know, have a certain moral standard and ground, right? We know what is right. We know that all children have the right to a quality education. There should be textbooks in the schools. The building shouldn't be falling apart. Like, you know, different things that I know, like, we know these things, but how do we make the change? We have to make the change. And like I said, we also do have to hold each other accountable. So many times I'll see somebody try to sound the alarm and say, hey, as the Black community, we need to do X, Y, and Z. And then it'll be so many people who will be like, oh no, but we can't. We have to hold each other accountable. Do we have to do it on a public platform? No. But in your individual community, the people that you know on a first name basis, you need to be going to them and talking to them. Because the thing is, they set a trap for us and we have fell into the trap. Like I said, it's not all. Some people are very educated. They have done very well for themselves. But I'm saying those of us who have been able to, right, escape the traps that have been set for us, we have to try to communicate with people in our families, people on our blocks who respect us, right, that we walk past every single day and they say what's up and all that, and they respect us. Lend yourself to them. Go to them. Hey, I learned about this opportunity. Would you be interested in it? Because the thing is, we're going to stay in this cycle. First one, we're not being proactive and searching on who we're voting for. Seeing what they actually stand for. What are they going to change? What changes are they going to make? What things are they going to do for the betterment of us in our communities, right? That's one. Two, if we don't start to make changes within our community, if you know your uncle or your nephew or your brother or whoever is carrying around guns and terrorizing the community or the neighborhood, you're part of the problem. You're literally part of the problem. Because we have to hold each other accountable. We don't need somebody else coming out from outside of our community telling us, yo, this is not right. We know right from wrong. There's nothing wrong with us. And we have to stop glorifying poor behavior. I was watching something last week, and I think it was Charlemagne. I think it was like an interview with Charlemagne, and he was saying that he would rather his daughter bring home somebody corny like Russell Wilson or whatever versus bringing home a real N-word, right? And you know, it just made me begin to think about the fact that, like, why do we call people who terrorize our communities, who sell drugs in our community, like, who are destroying our communities from the inside out, why do we call them real? Because they killed somebody, or that should not qualify what is a real, I mean, well, technically, now that I think about it, the word nigger, right, is an ignorant person. So I guess it's saying they a real ignorant person. Is that what it's saying? The context does not fit that, right? Not that you're saying they're a real ignorant person. You're saying, like, they a real one, right? But in a technical sense, a real nigga, right? But we don't want real niggas running our communities. I don't. We need real men. We need real men to stand up and say, hey, we're not allowing this on our block no more. No, you're not doing this on our block no more. Moms, grandmoms, aunts, sisters, you know he's doing this and that. He one of the ones terrorizing the community. No, you're not doing that no more. I'm not saying turn them in. I'm not saying none of that. Take the gun. You're not doing it no more. We're not doing that. And the thing is, I have an aunt, right? And she has gone on to glory. This was many years ago. I was a child, but her reputation and what she did has lasted for a long time. And if you are from Philadelphia, the library on 58th in Baltimore is named after her, Big Purr. It's the Blanche A. Nixon Library, right? And you would say, well, wow, that's amazing. How did your aunt get a library named after her? And she did that because she did exactly what I'm talking about right now. She went, so it was so many gangs in Philadelphia at the time, right? And I was I was a child. I wasn't even born yet. My mom probably was a child at this time, or a teenager. But the gangs had gotten so bad in Philadelphia, right? Like, that she was tired of it. And she was like, nah, we're not doing this, right? And so she gets on the phone while her kids is on the phone. She listens in, and she hears a meetup that they're about to have, I guess, for like a little gang war. They about to fight or whatever. And she begins to call the other mothers right? That she knew, right? And this is why community is so important, right? We need a strong community. And so she calls all the moms, right? And they all go and they meet up. And they like, nah, y'all not fighting. The moms are there. The kids are there. They ready to fight or whatever. And the moms are there like, nah, we not doing this. We not. Right? And then she started to do all these other like community activist things. But that was just so major that she would step up and say, no, like, we're not going to keep doing this. I'm not going to keep watching these young boys hurt and kill each other. That's not what we're going to do. And that's what I'm saying we need to do now. I'm so heartbroken when I see the news from Philly. Because, for one, I feel like, yeah, Philly has always had violence. Like I said, this incident I'm telling you guys about with my aunt, that was long before I was born. And yes, people have gotten killed and hurt and all types of things while I was living there. But now, oh my God, it seems like it has gotten so much worse, and my heart is broken because it's like I feel like it's a city that I don't know anymore, and it's really, really heartbreaking to watch a city that I literally love. Like it raised me. Like I love Philly, but it's literally heartbreaking to watch what's happening, to watch so many black people, not even young men anymore, right? Before, you knew, like, and I guess that's one of the differences that I see. Like, before, you knew, okay, if somebody got killed, it's probably some street stuff, some drug stuff, like whatever. Not saying it's right or wrong, but like, you know, like, okay, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, period. We get it. But now it's kids, it's babies, it's women, it's pregnant women. Like, it's just like, what's happening in the city? And this is not just for Philly, right? So I don't want you to feel like, oh, if you ain't from Philly, you don't share. No, like, this is for all major urban cities, communities that I might not know the name, right? Shoot, down in Houston, Takeoff just got killed. You know what I'm saying? So it's everywhere. It's not just there. And we could talk about that. That's going to be a whole nother video. But yeah, like, this violence, when are we going to put our foot down as a community? When are we going to stop making excuses and saying, well, X, Y, and Z? All right, yeah, X, Y, and Z, that's a reality too. But let's deal with this one. Let's say, yo, we putting an end to this. At least let's end this. Let's tackle one thing at a time. I went to a symposium one time, and one of the speakers said that. She said, dream big and focus small. So yes, we want to revitalize our communities. We want to upgrade our schools. We want to better the neighborhoods and the homes and the housing choices that we have, and job opportunities. All of those things, yes, we do need to work on those things. But like, can we stop killing each other? Like, it's really, really sad. It's really sad. And like I said, I'm not ignorant of the devices that have led us to this point. But at some point, we have to realize that it's not helping, right? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So when do we say, yo, we not just giving y'all our vote. What are y'all doing for us? Yo, you not coming in and out of my house and you out here robbing and killing folks. You got a gun, I'm taking it and I'm turning it into the police station. What would happen if every relative would take the gun of somebody they know who's doing no good with it, turn it into the police? What would happen in our communities if nobody had a weapon? And the thing is, I'm for guns, right? I'm for people, responsible people having guns, right? But I'm talking about people who are using it to destroy the community, to kill other black and brown people. That's what I'm talking about. I'm so pro-black, it's not even funny. So miss me with any other thing. If you're not listening to understand, then that's on you. But these are things that we, like I said, as a black community, we have to hold each other accountable for. I guess that's all I have for you guys. I love you guys. And I want y'all to know that this video is coming from the best of places, but I really just, we got to see a change. We got to see things happen differently. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next time.